That's good. And welcome to Business Focus. I am your host, the Eisen Agency President, Rodger Roeser. And joining me today is Mary Hladio. She is the CEO of a company called Ember Carriers. Embercarriers.com is your website. That's where folks can find you.
Yes.
And if you're a small business owner out there, or a big business owner, or a business owner of some kind, or an employee that has a really bad boss, Mary is probably the person that you want to reach out to. So welcome, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And, in all seriousness, though, I mean, so many organizations, there isn't really a manual on being a boss, but I think every time I go to Barnes & Noble, there's 6,000 books on being a better one.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it can be tough as a boss to look introspectively and say, maybe I could be doing this better, or, why do all my employees, seem to leave, or they don't like me, or what could I be doing better? It can be hard to look in the mirror.
Right.
But that's really where your organization comes in and says, hey, it's okay to look in the mirror, and, you might see a blemish or two, but if you do, that's okay. We can help to fix it.
Yeah, the more self-aware a leader can be, obviously the better. If they can say,
Right.
I can be better, I can improve, and we kind of focus on that leader. A lot of times we come in the organization and the problem is fix my employees. Is there something wrong with them?
Right.
And then we work our way backwards and we find out it's the leadership team that might be the problem.
Sure.
And if they're willing to actually open up to us and
Right.
actually expose a little of themselves, we can actually get to a point where we can help them grow, not only in the employee engagement aspect, but grow even in their business themselves.
And that's such a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, small business leader, mid-sized business leader, leader of a team, large business organization, you spend 8, 9, 10, 20 hours a day at work or working with these folks. It'd be nice if it was rewarding and a little bit fun.
It would
right?
be, and I think what ends up happening a lot of times with leaders today is that they get so wrapped in them having to control it.
Sure.
There are several instances where the CEO is the one who handles the wireless internet connection,
Right.
or the CEO is the one who locks up the building of the company, or the CEO is he's the one doing contracts. I was just working with someone and they were out doing Christmas cards, but
Right.
he has an executive assistant. And it's like, there's this sort of a sense of control. So, they're losing sort of energy on what they'd be working on strategically by working on these little tiny things so they feel like they have to.
Right.
When they could be having a team that's there to support them and really to help them with their mission and vision and core values to help that company grow. But somewhere along the line they get lost and they get stuck in those little details.
Right.
And we try to help elevate them from that.
Yeah, they fall into those areas of where they're comfortable, and in a PR firm like I run, I guess we're constantly put in an area where we're uncomfortable. That's part of the gig. You're always learning something new, and you're always growing, and you're always taking a look at something else. And certainly we're not perfect. No company is perfect. So don't feel like you're the only one who's reaching out to you and saying, "Hey, I'm
exactly." And you want to keep those tools sharpened in the toolbox, right?
Bet.
If you don't use them. If you don't know anything about social media, what do? You go find someone who helps you with social media.
Right.
If you don't know anything about accounting, you go to someone who knows accounting.
Right.
Well, if you're looking to grow your business and be a better leader, then you come to a consultant that helps you with that as well.
That's right, and you streamline through it. You've got a great program. I love it. It's called Fuel.
Yes.
It's like energy for your business, like fuel for your business. Get things going, right?
Yeah, it's a very simple process. All of our processes are custom designed. So if I build a program for a company, it's their program.
Right.
There's no off-the-shelf programs. There's no, let me tell you what I did over at this company, cobble it up, place your logo on top, which so many companies do.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Sure.
And we have the answer to your problem, even though we don't know your problem.
Right.
So part of the Fuel process is starting with understanding what's going on. We actually go through and find out about your business.
Find is the F.
Right? So we find out about the business, and it almost kind of takes a cathartic approach of,
oh, sure.
I want to see what is your mission, and you'd be surprised how many businesses don't
Don't
have
have
a mission statement. Or their organization, they have one, and only the CEO and the senior leadership people know it.
Or they have one, and it's 25 paragraphs of utter, complete,
Exactly.
total nonsense.
Yeah. Fluffy words, butterflies and rainbows and that
You
sort
bet.
of thing.
And unicorns.
But it's nothing they can do with it.
Sure.
So we go in and actually literally, I want to understand your business. I'll go around, I'll walk the shop floor, I might sit and take a phone call, that sort of thing. So we do that.
Right.
And then we say, okay, what do you have?
Right.
What can we use that's already here?
Is that's the you.
Right. It's utilizing what you already have.
Right.
You've got some great employees. Hopefully, you've got some great processes, you've got this. Can we take that and then make it better? And
Right.
I think you talked about being streamlined.
Sure.
So can we streamline that process a little bit better? There's an organization that talked about, ever since they've grown, they've been around for about 10 years, to hire a new person in one of their entry-level position, it takes them 3 months to get up to speed.
Ugh.
Where it used to take them days. But they've grown and they've added all these processes on top of it, and they made themselves too complicated.
Right.
So we're kind of going in and say, okay, we're not going to change anything. I'm not the expert in how to make that order. You guys are the expert in how to make your order.
Good point.
But do we need really this piece of paper? Do we need to go to this person? Do we need to go to that person? Does this person need to sign off on it?
And what ends up happening is not only is this cathartic for the employee, but it's cathartic for the boss, it's cathartic for the organization. So if an organization is willing to take a hard look at itself and say, hey, I know this can be better. Let's bring Mary in and her team. We can do these kind of things better. At the end of the day, more rewarding work experience, more rewarding work-life balance, more profitable organization,
Exactly.
a streamlined organization, easier to train employees.
Right.
Boss might get to go golfing a little bit more
Just
often.
a little bit more.
Are there some warning signs that you see out there in businesses that you come up against that are common themes that if you're a boss or a CEO out there watching this, go, oh boy, that's me.
I think one of the things, if your folks are not engaged,
Yeah, and that's the E
that's the
in
E,
fuel,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Sure.
If they're not engaged, if you can't walk into the company and see everyone kind of rallying around making the company better,
Right.
I think that's a warning sign. If you've got people leaving, if you've got some turnover, and some businesses have a natural turnover just because
Right.
of their seasons, but it shouldn't be an unnatural turnover.
But that's a tough question. So, I mean, as the boss, you don't walk up to your staffer and say, are you engaged?
No,
They
but-
say, yes. Why, yes, I'm very engaged.
No, but I mean,
you can tell,
you can
can't
tell.
you? Sure.
I can walk into most organizations, and if a CEO walks through and everyone averts their glaze,
Right.
That's probably a problem, right? But the CEO should be talking to folks. How are things going? Getting their ideas. Some of the best ideas come from employees.
You bet.
Some of the bigger companies like Google, 3M, are actually going to their employees, giving them time, work time, 10% of their time, a day of their time, and saying, go out and just do something completely not related to your
Right.
job, but that might be innovative, that we might get some really cool ideas.
One of the things that I see, and I mean, you're featured in newspapers, you're featured in magazines, you're constantly writing, thought leadership pieces. You were in Women's Day or Women's World, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, really great stuff, a lot of HR trade pubs, and so on and so forth. And you keep hearing this common theme of CEO burnout and boss burnout.
Yeah.
One of the major reasons and causes for that is that lack of engagement, and they're not getting the food
Right.
or the
It's
fuel
very lonely at the top.
that they need. Sure.
Yes, it's very lonely at the top. Who do you go to?
Right.
At some point in time, you can't go to your staff because you have this myth of being the leader
Right.
and having the answers. You can't go to other CEOs because there's too much of an ego there, and I can't let you know that my business is maybe not doing very well, so I'm going
Right.
to put out airs for that. I
You
don't want
can
to
go to
my
your
spouse.
competitors, but
Yeah.
they probably
They
just
will-
eat that up. They'd be like, "Really,
And you
you're
can't go to
doing
your
badly?"
spouse because I don't want them to feel bad or
Sure.
bring them involved into
Right.
this situation. So it becomes very lonely. So it's somewhere between 5 and 7 years is the rate for most CEOs at large companies where they've just run their course and they can't do anything
darned.
anymore. Mid-sized businesses a little bit longer because they're engaged, because it's their business, it's their
Right.
baby.
Good point.
But how many times have we seen something happen to a CEO of a mid-sized business and the business just dies? So yeah, there's this sort of a lifespan that exists, and being able to elevate yourself.
Right.
And in some cases, I talk to my leaders about becoming not company presidents, but literally CEOs, the board of directors of your business, where you can kind of be at a 50,000-foot view, work on strategy, but build a great team underneath you that can handle the day-to-day operations.
Absolutely.
And it allows you that day maybe to go off. There's a CEO that I know he's going next week to go to an innovation conference, and it's just him.
Right.
They get some really good ideas. He knows someone doing it, and he can take that day because he's confident that his staff around him can actually handle the day-to-day
Right,
operations.
and I would say that about Eisen. I mean, I am so blessed with some of the folks that I have, and it doesn't enable me. But I'll tell you what, when I was first starting out, Mary, I was terrified to take a day off, terrified to take a vacation. Oh my God, if I walk away for 3 days and I'm not
Yeah.
working 24 hours
The
a day,
business-
my
the
business is
business
going
will
to
be doomed,
explode.
planes
Right,
will fall out of the
right,
sky.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to be, it's the eighth seal, right, in Revelation, and you've
We
got
can get
to
wrapped
surround
around
your-
our identity into the company that we're at.
That's right.
It's like a double-edged sword. It's good. If I see Rodger Roeser, I want to know that Rodger Roeser represents Eisen Agency.
engaged, right.
So that's good. But at some point in time, when do you separate yourselves? Is there an entity that
Sure.
exists outside of that person?
Right. Now, on your website, if you don't have it yet, you will soon have it. You've almost got this self-assessment kind of thing where a CEO who might be afraid to ask these questions or might be afraid to do things can at least log on, can kind of take a little battery of maybe some questions or something that might get him or her at least thought starting and how this might be able to help their business.
Right.
And you would come in and meet with somebody, no charge, first time,
No charge,
to sit down
yeah.
and chat and say, hey, You
just
know,
do a little discovery interview, see
Yeah,
what's
right.
going on, and see if we can help them. I mean, in some cases, there are situations where you're not there yet, and so
Right.
when you're ready, let us know. But if you're not, I'd be happy to sit down and talk with any company leader about what's going on in the organization.
Right, you're kind of like what was that, Sleeping Beauty? You're the mirror, right?
Right,
Mirror,
yeah.
mirror on the wall,
Right.
and as long as you're confident and strong enough to, as a leader, ask that question, that's probably the big first step,
That's
right?
Great.
That's a great first step. Great. Mary, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for everybody that makes Business Focus possible, especially our guest, Mary Hladio, I am Rodger. Over and out.